for those of you who don't know, Shane got some new toys, and he wanted to try them out. They tried to get me to dance, but I didn't want to clear the place out. So I apologize to everyone. There was a bit of confusion over the timing. We instead of starting at 8:15 or at 8:30, we will wait and start at 8:22 and a half. Thank you. Split the difference. And just give you a couple more minutes to get. There's a couple folks still in the gallery that are finishing up, so we're going to wait about 2 minutes. Go back to talking. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, first thing on the agenda, and my first job at all of these is always to just welcome everyone. So welcome back. I hope everybody had a great summer that was off. Dr. Haas, do you have any opening comments you'd like to make? So again, we got a new sound system. We're still working with it, and Shane is having way too much fun right now with the sound system. So with that, I want to welcome everyone back. I hope you guys had a great summer. I hope everybody got recharged and are ready to start a new school year. I know it's always an exciting time. The energy, everybody asks me when school starts, and I always tell them, well, on Monday, or today, I would say, our faculty get back, so the energy level starts to go up, and then next week, it really goes off the scale. So we are looking forward to having students back next week. We're glad to have everyone back. As I said, I hope everybody had a great summer and is ready to get started. With that, we'll go ahead and start into the program. And the first thing is service reports. Brooks?
Good morning. give them a hand. It's a very difficult decision to make. Accolades about our Employee of the Semester for summer 22 include just off-the-chart true blue passion to help students, always going above and beyond, and they bring donuts for the department. So in that case alone, our Employee of the Semester for summer 2022 is Phil Anderson, Assistant Women's Basketball Coach. Phil will receive $100 for his honor. Congratulations, Phil. And now, Service Award. Always an exciting moment. I pulled out the pen for you and get the rest of them done. Use my reading glasses. We will start with 10-year awards, and please come down. You get your 15 seconds of fame as you walk. So I'm going to just read them off quickly, so be patient. We start with Michelle Carey, biology instructor. Nikki Dane, Department 2 secretary. I'm going to start putting my emails to them. Sit up, folks. Sit up front. Just to go a lot faster. Oh my God. It's not that bad, Nikki. You can come on. Congratulations. We get you standing up. We have hardware. Tracy Gould, Instructional Technologist, Coordinator of that program. Come on down. What is going on this morning? We are an alcohol-free organization. We shouldn't be doing this.
So we say.
I don't know what's going on. I'm sober. Continuing, Debbie Graber, college counselor, and coordinator. Debbie assumed a new role on July 1st. Would you tell everybody what your new role is, please?
I'm the coordinator of counseling and social work services.
Cool, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Victoria, or as we know her, Tori Graff. Lab coordinator and Francisco Hernandez Rodriguez, custodian. Thank you. Lori Miller, business officer. Michelle Nuss, Outreach. Congratulations. John Pendergrass, B&I trainer. Is John here? There he is. I wondered what kind of Arliners John would pull this morning. So. Here it comes. Oh. That was not a trick. That was true. Congratulations, John.
Standard crumble.
You did. Congratulations.
I did.
I've never seen you behave before.
First for everything.
Yeah, there is. David Planthold, digital coordinator with IT. Is David here today?
He's in the streaming booth.
Oh, hello, David. Thank you, Shane. Dan Pohl, English instructor. Where's Dan? There we go. Dan was part-time several years, so he's put in more than 10 years of service. Justin Riggs, cross-country coach. Ryan Schmidt, head baseball coach. Amber Schweitzer, Tier 2 lead in IT. Demetrius Van Sickle, event coordinator at the sports arena. Stoney Wilson, coordinator of custodial services. Stoney wants to remind custodians there's a meeting right after this meeting for all custodians.
Blue Dragon Room.
Okay. Hey, I remembered. I get something for that. And Michelle Wortham, administrative assistant. That concludes tenure. We have 17 people who stayed with HutchCC for 10
Which way do
years.
you want us to squeeze? Michelle Perry's here now. Come right in the middle and make it more obvious. There you go. Yeah, apparently my master blocked something.
There's no way David could come down for his picture right now. David, can I hold it back to the image? Okay, cool.
Yeah, sure. Hi.
Give him a round of applause. 15 years of service to Hutchinson Community College. David Bosworth, math instructor. DJ, as we know him, Chastain. DJ was promoted over the summer. Let everyone know your new title, DJ, please. Good.
Coordinator of Advising and Career Development.
Cool, thank you.
Dave, how you doing?
Congratulate him on promotion.
Good, how are you?
Ryan Deal, English professor. Kathy Deeks, Health Information Technology instructor, but she is ill today, unfortunately, but give her a round of applause, please. Kim Johnson, business instructor. And due to an error, Kim never received her tenure, but she's receiving that today also. Congratulations. Sonia Lindenberger, records department.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see.
And John Hodges, head women's basketball coach.
Good deal. We're going down.
There we have 20 years. We actually had 7 people for that. So 7 people lasted 20 years. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, 15, sorry. You expect me to remember I just finished 5 minutes ago. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody. We move on to 20 years. Okay, 20 years. Tori Bokus, payroll technician in HR. Tori is on vacation today. She had planned a vacation before she realized she was getting a pin today. So she will be punished for that. But Chuck Buller, as we know him, Charles Buller. Come on down. Roy Johnson, math instructor. And David Kruger, BNI instructor, CDL. David has many hats on campus, so I won't even try to name all of them. That's what I went with. Congratulations. Sorry, my hand's cold. We have 4, again minus Tori today, so let's give them a round of applause, please. Move on to 25 years, 1997. Class of that year. Sherry Brooks, residence hall custodian. You should be okay. Jerry Smith, maintenance. Dan Smith. Busy. And Christy Torgerson, Executive Director of Medicine. We have 425ers. And that concludes our pinning ceremony. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations.
Well, that brings us to the moment that I know you have all been anxiously awaiting, and that's my presidential update. But we're not going to start on that quite yet. What I'd like to do is take this opportunity to introduce Starla Wells with the United Way of Reno County. And Starla's going to talk to you a little bit about the United Way. United Way is one of the organizations that I personally support here in Hutchinson, both with a gift, but also I'm on the board of the United Way. So I really appreciate all of the work they do. Starla will explain to you what United Way does, and I'm going to ask everybody to consider donating to the United Way this year if you can at all. So, Starla.
Thank you, Carter, and yes, we really do appreciate his leadership on our United Way board and the expertise and things he brings to us in our programs. At United Way, we believe that finding value in the work that we do and the way that we invest in our community is very important. Just like I'm sure most of you want to find value in the work that you do, the way you spend and volunteer your time, and the way your funds are used if you become a United Way donor. Everything that we do at United Way really does revolve around three main areas, and that's health, education, and financial stability, because we believe very strongly that if even our most vulnerable citizens have some kind of success in those areas, that their lives will improve, and that'll make Reno County a better place to live and work for all of us. So I will just take a few minutes and tell you how your donated dollars to United Way are working every day. If you got one of the rat cards when you walked in, on the back you'll see a list of funded partners. There's 24 funded partners listed there, and these are organizations that have proven records of success. We go out and fundraise during our campaign each year for these organizations because we believe in what they do and the value that they bring to our community. We fund organizations, for example, that are geared towards providing resources for some of our youngest citizens, such as the Early Education Center, Hadley Daycare Center, Child Care Links that works with home daycare providers throughout Reno County. And one of our new funded partners this year is the Hutchinson High School Daycare Center. We also help fund the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program. We also have partners that we work with that deal with older children as well, things like the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And another new funded partner we have this year is Rise Up Reno. If you're not familiar with that program, they work on preventative mentoring with students in the areas of substance misuse and suicide prevention. We also have a number of organizations that are funded by your donations to United Way that work with people and individuals, families that find themselves in crisis. Those are organizations that work very hard to help individuals move from crisis to some type of stability, things like Salvation Army, Horizons Mental Health Center, Interfaith Housing, Bright House, Kansas Legal Services, the Cerebral Palsy Organization, and those organizations work very hard, like I said, dealing with people that are finding crisis in their lives and helping them get to those resources that will help things improve. We also have a few organizations that are with your donations to United Way are supported that help with our older population. One of those is Meals on Wheels, the Volunteer Center, of course, which is part of the Hutchinson Community College organization, and then also families and individuals that are dealing with end-of-life issues and grief counseling by your support of Hospice of Reno County. But our work doesn't really stop there. Besides those funded partners and the great work they do, we also find a great deal of value in bringing people together from all over Reno County to help support and problem solve some of the most critical issues that we're facing at this time. And those are things right now that are like child care, early childhood education, school readiness, substance misuse, poverty, literacy, resiliency, also disaster recovery. And this past spring and summer, we've had a care coordinator that works in our office at United Way, and also a care coordinator at Salvation Army that have been walking alongside almost daily with some of the victims from the recent Cottonwood Hills complex fires. So that's a great example of the disaster recovery work that we do at United Way. This year, our campaign theme, again, is Raise Your Hand for Reno County. We often talk to our donors, finding out from them what they're passionate about, what they'd raise their hands for, what they want to see their donated dollars invested in. We are kicking off our campaign formally on September 1st. Daryl Pankratz, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, is going to be our campaign chair this year. Daryl will lead our campaign. He will tell you that he finds a great deal of value in the work that's done at United Way and is willing to step up and help us run that campaign. And every year, because of donors like you, we are able to bring in over $1 million to Reno County. And that 99% of everything we raise for our funded partners and our community impact work stays right here in this community. Hutchinson Community College has always been a great partner for United Way. Carter just mentioned being on the board. Travis Boo is your campaign chair here at here at Hutchinson Community College. Travis has always been a great champion for United Way, and we really appreciate the work that he puts into helping us run our campaign here and allowing you to become supporters of the United Way if you are interested. It really does take all of us doing what we can at whatever level you feel comfortable giving, because no matter how small or large the gift, it really does take all of us doing what we can to get that to that 1+ million, and being able to continue supporting the successful work that's happening in our communities. So Travis couldn't be here this morning. I know one of the things he asked me to pass on to you is that he will be doing some giveaways again this year, as he's done in the past. I think he has something planned for early donors. Carter, you mentioned that the paper pledge forms would go out through payroll. You can also, if you're interested in donating and want to do it electronically, you can simply go to the United Way of Reno County website. There's a big red donate button at the top. You can click on there and fill out an electronic pledge form that way. And when you get to the section where it says employers, there's a drop-down menu, and you can find Hutchinson Community College there. So Thank you to all who have been donors in the past. Again, I hope you'll all consider doing that again this year, and I appreciate you letting me have a few minutes, and have a great start to your school year.
United Way of Reno County does a great job. Their board membership notwithstanding, they do a terrific job. They aggregate the money. They stretch the resources for each of these organizations that they are direct contributors to. So I hope you will consider donating. All right, I've got about 5 minutes to do a, 10-minute presentation, so we'll get through it quickly. So welcome back. This beautiful picture of the beautiful Lockman Hall during the summer. Let's enjoy it now, because we all know that there will be pictures of that in December as well. So, okay, it's not cooperating. So I was going to go over our strategic plan. What I'm going to do instead of that is I'm going to ask anybody who wants to be involved in our strategic plan to check with Dr. Paramore. Dr. Paramore is the one who helps lead this planning process. If you feel like you aren't involved or you would like to be involved, please check with Tricia, and she will be happy to plug you in somewhere. We are always looking for people that want to work on this. It works through the committee structure. It works through the department structure. So we get a lot of we have a lot of overarching involvement in it. It can be found on our website, and I'm not going to go there. You can go on to our HutchCC.edu and type in strategic plan. The most recent edition of our strategic plan with quarterly updates or semi-annual updates will be on there. Still not working. I was going to go over the Kansas Board of Regents strategic plan, Building a Future. I'm going to pull this one up because I want everyone to see how closely the Board of Regents strategic plan, their new strategic plan, ties into the things that we do at community colleges. I won't go into this. It's only a 34-page document. So I'm not going to go into it directly, but I do want to talk about, again, the overarching, what they call them pillars, the things that support the strategic plan. God bless you. The strategic plan. So the three pillars are helping Kansas families, supporting Kansas businesses, and advancing economic prosperity. And I want you to think about the things we do at Hutchinson Community College and think how closely their strategic plan ties to the things we do. One of the big ones under helping families, these are the three areas under families. This is the only one I'm going to do. Affordability, access, and success. Where do we hear those? We're all about those three things. I think that the strategic plan for the Board of Regents and what we do here at Hutchinson Community College can really dovetail together nicely. Sometimes I don't think we try to integrate the strategic plan from the Board of Regents as much. Their former plan, I think it was called Forecast 2020 or Foresight 2020, I don't think it included the things we do as much. I would encourage anyone who has an interest in this to go onto the Regents website, and it's prominently on the front page. So here's a few things that are going on. These are certainly not all of them, but these are things of note. We filed for a new location for the Hutchinson Correctional Facility, so we will have a location at HCF. We had to do that because we are now offering over 50% of a certificate or degree there. It's an HLC requirement, and it's also a Department of Ed requirement. We filed that about a week ago. We hope by Christmas we'll have that in our hands. Okay, everybody, just kind of take a deep breath. Just a little chanting might not be a bad idea as well. We are changing our email client. Yeah, you're clapping now. We're changing our email client. GroupWise has reached, or is going to reach very shortly, what the IT folks call EOL, end of life, which means it's, you're clapping for that, all right, which means that we can still use it, but there's not going to be any updates to it. They won't probably do any bug fixes. They won't do security patches. We are going to migrate to Microsoft 365 Outlook. So we're migrating from GroupWise to this new platform. We've hired a part-time person to help us with the migration. They have done huge migrations, so this really should be a fairly easy migration. We'll make the migration as painless as we possibly can, but it is not going to come without some angst, some irritation. Amber can tell you that I'm probably the most irritable person when it comes to computers. You can talk to her about that later. But we're going to do everything we can. We're going to take it in phases, and that's the next bullet. We're looking for volunteers to be the first to adopt. I think they're looking for about 20 to 25 people who just really want to do this. And I know there's 2 of us that have already volunteered, Christopher and me. So anybody else who wants to come along with that hearty group, please feel free to, because they will need volunteers. And I got to keep moving here. Another thing that we're doing that's kind of going to be a little bit behind the scenes, so most of us won't see it, is we're going to install a new financial aid package, and it's called Regents Education. It has nothing to do with the Kansas Board of Regents. It's a company called Regent Education. This is behind the scenes, but it's something that's absolutely critical to what we do, because if we can't give federal financial aid, that would be a serious problem for the college. So we're going to do that. We're going to enter into a 5-year agreement with Regent. I think the total price tag of that, just to give you an idea, is over $800,000 for those 5 years. So it's not an insignificant amount of work or college resource investment. Here's some projects we're going to. These are more physical projects. We're going to do tennis courts. We're going to redo that area, and I'll show you kind of a diagram of that in just a moment. We're going to redo the courtyard between Lockman Hall and Parker Student Union. We're going to expand our nursing space. We're just not sure where yet. We're either going to do the 2nd floor of Pill Center, or we're going to enter into an agreement with the hospital on their site to do some training up there. The purpose of this is so if we can find the faculty to expand our nursing slots, 20 additional slots. We have the slots, we just haven't had the space to do it, and of course, as I've said, faculty is always a concern. We're going to expand the cosmetology building, and we're going to start offering barbering. We'll be the only public institution in the state of Kansas that offers barbering. You would be surprised and amazed at how difficult their regulations are to navigate. We can't have a lot of shared space between barbering and cosmetology because they do such different things. And we have our cosmetologist folks here, so they know my frustration with this. But anyway, we have to expand because we don't have the space to do it. That project is already in the works. We will be looking for some donations to do that, to build on to that building. If anybody wants to donate, come see me. If not, I have some ideas. Some less sexy projects, if you will. We've got to replace the roof at Shears Technology Center. So for those of you in Shears Technology, you can clap to that. Apparently, when it rains and the rain runs down onto computer labs, that's a problem, so they tell me. So we are going to redo that. We always talk about we always think of Shears Technology Center as being new. It's 26 years old. The renovation is 26 years old. That's a pretty good life out of a roof. That's about somewhere between three quarters and $1 million. So it's not an insignificant project. It's just something that happens in the background that just happens. A lot of us don't think about it. So, and then my personal goal is we will renovate the restrooms at Lockman Hall. I'll either win that battle or I won't. And I hope I do. It's time. There are a few spots on the college that still need a lot of TLC, and in my opinion, there's no place that needs more than the restrooms in Lockman Hall. So we're gonna do those. Okay, and I'm gonna wrap this up. Here's what the new tennis courts will look like. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna do this. So again, I wish I had a little more time. I'd go into all of this, but this is kind of where the tennis courts are at now. We're going to have an outside classroom. Again, we're looking for a donor for that in case anybody's interested. There's going to be a spot here for some food trucks so that we can do some interesting things. You know, we have to get our agreement with Great Western Dining to do that, but they're usually very accommodating. We're thinking about some pickleball courts, a gaga ball. I don't have any idea what that is, but Dana knows, and the kids know. And then 9 square. So again, it's going to be this over where, right down, nothing. Oh, you know why? It's because the ON/OFF switch isn't in the right spot. Hey, right down here is coming from, this is the practice field over here. The office technology is up here. This is coming from Stringer. So this is all going to be very nice, usable green space. And we hope that once we get it put in place, that it's used extensively. Of course, you see the outside dining. So that is what the tennis court project is. And then the next one is the courtyard. And again, this is Parker Student Union. Right there's Parker Student Union. Lockman is over here. This will all be redone. These are shade structures with tables underneath them so that people can sit out there, employees, students can sit out there and enjoy a meal. And that's it. So I got through it pretty quick. Two things I want to make sure I mention. We did not introduce everybody today, all of new employees. Every week, a new employee email comes out from the Bamboo system, has their picture in it, tells you where they started, what they're doing. Please look at those. If there's someone you'd like to reach out to and send a welcome email, please do that. But we will probably, that's probably how we will communicate that, and that's how we'll communicate that in the future. This couple of other things. There's a picnic tomorrow night. Because of the lovely weather we've been having, we're going to have it inside over at Parker Student Union. And then no starting to the school year would be complete unless we mentioned COVID. We are moving forward as normal. We will adjust if COVID becomes an issue. The dorms and athletics are still going to be doing certain protocols because of the closeness of their folks. But by and large, we're going to try to run this year as normal. The one thing we're going to ask people to do, and we're going to send this out in a message as it's closer to students getting back, whatever decision you make, wear a mask or not wear a mask, please respect other people's decisions. That's kind of how the airlines are handling it. They tell you when you get on a plane, they're not going to mandate a mask, but respect what somebody else decides to do. And that's how we'd like everybody to handle that situation. With that, Jess, I'm going to ask you to come up and introduce our guest, please. Everybody have a great semester. just for everybody who's leaving, you might want to think about this. If you touch a computer, this applies to you. So you might want to think about that.
All right, good morning. Thank you for those of you who stayed, and if you're exiting, if you could do so, please quietly so we can move forward. Today we have Mr. Joe Jabbar from Wichita State University speaking on cyber hygiene. And so I just want to do a little introduction to set the stage. He's going to speak for about 45 minutes. As the cyber world continues to change, it can be challenging for us to know as educators how to protect ourselves, our students, and our institution. So I collected some data from the Cybersecurity Operations Center here at HutchCC, and they shared some eye-opening data that I thought might help you gain some perspective if you didn't already have some. In the last 30 days, here at HutchCC, 112,895 malicious emails have been blocked. In addition to that, 17.34 terabytes of internet traffic have been scanned, which I did not understand, so I had to ask Ben for help. So he gave me some perspective. It's equivalent to 8,377,000 web pages being viewed. Just here at HutchCC in the last 30 days, when most faculty were not here and students were not really here on campus. The more we access, the more of a threat we become. Today, Mr. Joe Jabbar from WSU is here to share what we need to be on the lookout for in the future and to explain why cyber hygiene is essential for our cyber safety. Mr. Joe Jabbar is an associate teaching professor at the School of Computing at Wichita State University. He teaches essentials of cybersecurity and human threats to cybersecurity, among others. He earned his bachelor's from Wichita State. He also holds a law degree from Washburn University and is presently licensed in the state of Kansas. Joe is retired from the Air Force and the Air National Guard after 30 years of service. During his service, he held the command role in intelligence and cybersecurity. He is also is a graduate of both Air War College and the Advanced Joint Warfighting course. So if you would please welcome Mr. Joe Jabbar.
The space bar?
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
This advances.
Okay.
The down button.
Okay.
And then that takes it back. So whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay. Good morning. Everybody that left early must have heard me speak before. So I was watching the presentation. I thought, you know, I could be a good test case for the barbering college. They couldn't screw this up very bad. Okay, I'm not used to speaking at a podium, but that's okay. I'm going to talk for, you know, whatever, 35, 40 minutes and leave some time for questions, but I do these presentations, I kind of vary. I had one person ask me to speak for 2 hours, which was a killer. I've had other people ask me to speak for 45 minutes initially, and then after I started talking, they said, hey, could you cut it down to 20? We'll try to make this as painless as possible. Okay, so this is what I like to talk about when I'm talking to a group. I sat down this last week and I tried to tailor it for this audience because because, you know, there's some unique things to the world of education in terms of cybersecurity, which I know as well as anybody. So we'll talk about some basic tenets, facts, misconceptions. We'll also talk about the fish, which is, you know, the thing that rules, and we'll talk a little bit about some case and law updates that might affect you. Okay, so these are the tenets. This is the way I teach my classes when I come into not knowing anything about cybersecurity. My students, I say, okay, these are the three things, all right? Person's home is not their only castle. You have their network, and you also have what's on your computer. What's normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. Anybody old enough to remember the Addams Family? Yeah. So Morticia, I think, said this, but you know, it's true. You know, so hackers, cyber criminals, they want you in chaos. That's what they want you to do. They want you to be panicking. They want you to be feel like you're held hostage over, which is what ransomware is, over what they have control of on your computer. Then technology amplifies human flaws, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, especially in the context of social media. Okay, these are the facts. All right, so 90% of cyber attacks, or even more than that, are financially motivated. That means that the other 10% are combinations of things. Anybody heard of Anonymous? You know, Anonymous are hacktivists. Anonymous go in and they try to make a political statement or a freedom of speech statement or something to that effect that gets people's attention. They're not normally financially motivated. And the other percentage of hackers are just people screwing around, proving to their friends that they can do it, that sort of thing. And then a really small minority are, nation states trying to steal information. But even those are technically financially motivated. So, phishing emails, I talk a lot about phishing emails, and I do so because that's where 80% of your attacks come from. I mean, there are some exceptions to that, but let's face it, until people start answering phishing emails correctly or blocking phishing emails, well, there's always that, and they never will. I mean, it's just going to happen. But until that gets rectified, remedied, or whatever, that's how the attacks are going to come from. So, educational institutions, as Jessica talked about, they just get hammered, constantly hammered, and I'll talk about why, that sort of thing. So, here's some things here. I don't know facts. Ransomware attack was a large factor why a college in Illinois got shut down. It wasn't the only factor. They were having financial difficulties anyway, but they ended up having to pay a ransom, and it was over $100,000 or whatever. Just one in a string of things. COVID, this ransomware attack, blah blah blah, and they ended up shutting the doors. So that wasn't a good thing. And I don't know if they were looking for a donor to try to reopen or something. I don't know what that is, if that happened or not. Okay, colleges pay an average of $112,000 for a ransom. But when you're restoring that and bringing in, more security measures and going out and dealing and mitigating with all the privacy violations and sending notices out and hiring counsel because you're probably going to get sued in a class action, insurance premiums increase. It gets to be way, way, way more than that. Okay, there's a site out there I really like because it's kind of a numbers geek. It's called Hackmageddon. And they list every reported hack. Now that's reported hack. That doesn't talk about all the stuff that's not reported. But they say there's 4 to 5 successful cyber attacks worldwide involving higher education. And it's probably more than that, but they go unreported. Why do they go unreported? Embarrassing? Yeah, it's embarrassing, right? Yeah, it's embarrassing, and they don't want to instill panic, right? So, what was the email server you guys are migrating from? Yeah, I've never even heard of that. So, sir, I think I don't know, the restrooms being renovated and new email server. I don't know who won the applause thing there, but that's pretty close. almost makes me want to see these restrooms, but not really. And in 30 years in the military, I've been in some bad restrooms. So, okay, misconceptions. I know who the folks that are in charge of cybersecurity here and IT are probably working tirelessly, and I think, I'm sure they're doing a great job. The stats you pulled and you talked to them about, that shows that they're aware and doing a great job. But, there's still things out there that people need to understand. Antivirus, firewalls, that's just part of the problem. Yeah, that helps, but it's not the magic pill. The other thing is I'm not worth to be hacked. Who would, somebody steal my identity, they'd want to give it back. So that's the thing. It's like, what do you can't have that attitude, because you may not be worth anything in terms of a hacker, but they could use you to get to other avenues that are worth something. Microsoft 365 had a massive, I don't know if I should tell you about this, massive data breach in one of their cloud servers, 45,000 email accounts, which it happens, but they got in through one person through phishing email, and then the cloud bucket was leaky, and they got into everybody else's. So that one person may not have had any information that was valuable, but sure some of the other people did. Cyber insurance is one of the worst things that happen in the industry and one of the best things. People kind of, it's kind of like driving, Would you be more careful if you knew it was coming out of your own pocket, how you drove, I probably would. So that's the thing. And it is a good thing for smaller organizations to be able to get covered, and so you don't go broke. But on the other hand, I don't know if it lets people let their guard down. Cyber insurance is interesting because they were having a hard time finding. Again, it's like anything else in cyber. The supply doesn't meet the demand of people in the industry. So there's been a lot of trouble finding people to be employed. Okay, all right. This is kind of a joke. This is what you see in the hacker movies. In reality, it's pretty simple. If you wanted to go out and buy a list of passwords that are out there and compromised, and probably a lot of them still work, you can do it. Every one of you in there could do it. It takes you about 5 minutes to figure out where to go on the internet to do it. If you want to get in the dark web, you can probably do it multiple times. But the point is, one person pulls this information out, and then all of you all of a sudden are hackers. So again, this is technology multiplying human flaws. I'm losing my voice. So these are the ways in a network, and I don't want to really spend a lot of time on these, but these are different ways to get in a network. There's more to it than just hacking into somebody's email. The thing that really people don't understand is that insider threats are a big deal. And I'm talking about not somebody screwing around and answering a phishing email or clicking on a link. Those are a type of insider threat. I'm talking about, insiders that are malicious, and take, former employees or whatever, have a grudge against you, sir, or whatever, and they want to do something to get back at the college. You see this more often than not. Those are the people that you don't hear a lot about, again, because of the embarrassment factor, and also it's not as sensational as the hacker behind the keyboard in somebody's basement. Okay, I spent a lot of time talking to students about this the first semester. I actually have them go out and write a phishing email and try to get somebody to fall for it, and that somebody's our department chair, so we attack him with phishing emails. He knows they're coming, but it's kind of all. Oh, thank you. much better. Okay, so social engineering is kind of the way to get to a phishing email. I'll show you how that example. There's 3 different types or 4 different types of phishing if you count text messages. Anybody got a phishing text message lately? Yeah, they're terrible. They seem to be worse, you know. So, and most of them are really bad. I mean, they're just bad. But people click on them, so they'll continue to do them. So, phishing is sending out an email to a bunch of people in hopes that somebody clicks on a link. And the email could be directed, it could be, or it could just be generic. So spear phishing is hitting a certain type of people. Like if I want to hit all the adjunct faculty about something, if I want to hit all of the finance department, because they have bigger and better credentials and they can get to what you're looking for sooner than later, you know, that would be an example. Whaling would be hitting the CEO or the president of a company or the president of a university because you want to get into their privileges and their credentials and be able to get to the really good information. All right, so this is there's a bunch of good sites out there, not good in terms of benevolence or anything, but good in terms of really these are sites where you want to go out and see how much information's out there. I'll talk about that in a second. But so True People Search, this is our department chair. He's a great guy. He's originally from Zimbabwe, and you know, he kind of talks like he's from Oklahoma. But no, he's a really good guy, and he's one of these guys that has a good sense of humor and a willingness to help our program. So I just looked him up one time. This whole thing was a 10-minute endeavor, but I looked him up, truepeoplesearch.com. You check out on your phones or whatever, look yourself up, see what's out there. This is a completely free site. Okay, you're not behind paywalls or anything. This is a free site. So what I did was, you know, I put him out there. I started finding things out like, okay, what's his phone number? What's his address? That sort of thing. Maybe, you know, maybe some associates. You know, I found his wife's, I knew his wife's name anyway, but I figured this was his wife, so I went out there and started looking around on social media, and I started looking around on the internet using some search queries, some directed search queries, and found a bunch of things that Gary or Dr. Brooking, you know, had participated in. So what I did was I went back and I decided I'd focus on his address, which is 1025 North Bristol Court. So I took that information to get his house and mortgage, okay? It's all out there. You know, Reno County, Sedgwick County, you can find all kinds of information out there on your mortgage, which really is kind of surprising if it's filed with the Register of Deeds. So what I did was I created this phishing email. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's essentially to him trying to scare him into thinking that his property taxes had went up, and you know, so his property taxes had went up and it's going to affect his escrow, and he needed to check that and make sure. All right, so you know, that's pretty convincing, right? I mean, you think you get one of these in the mail, you're concerned that so then you click on this. Notice the email address. I obfuscated. I made it look like an email address that was Sedgwick County's official website, but it really isn't. I changed a couple letters around, which is a common tactic for hackers. And sure enough, he clicked on it. So, and I had him like, you know, somebody making a scary face. I don't remember what or you're a dummy. I don't remember what the link actually was, but you know, and then I put his head on a platter for everybody to see. And I put it outside my wall. But anyway, so he's a good sport about it, and that's how easy it is. Okay. All right. This is why it rules. You know, there's tons of public information out there. Anybody seen that movie, McLovin? Yeah, it's okay. All right. So emails are sent by the thousands. Well, you know, we're not even in school yet, and those numbers are pretty staggering, right? There's multiple vectors of attack. There's attachments, there's credential stealing, that sort of thing. It's easy to do with basic tools. Poor training, that's some of it, and then cognitive biases of people, And I go through this in one of my classes, human threats class. I talk about all the cognitive biases. I didn't realize I was going to teach psychology, when I took this job, but there's so much of it. And is anybody psychology professors or instructors out here? Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, so you know cognitive biases and all that stuff, and it really comes into play when somebody's deciding where to click on an email and that sort of thing. So, back to that, cognitive biases. When you send these emails, there's 3 or 4 things you want to do if you're actually a hacker that seem to work the best if you're sending directed, and that is sense of urgency is the key, and you have to understand that if people are threatened by loss of money, loss of security, stolen passwords, that sort of thing, submission to authority, boss wants to see you in his office, you've been picked, this is one we did in the military, you've been picked for a random year analysis. That's the one that always works, because if you don't show up for a random year analysis, you're in a lot of trouble. All right. And the only thing worse than getting picked for a random year analysis is getting picked as an observer to the random year analysis. Those are the worst. So let your imagination run wild there. So the thing is, these sort of things, and then rewards also work. All right. So we did a phishing exercise where we found out somebody was a member of I think it was the Blake Shelton fan club. So what they did was they sent an email out saying you chance to win VIP tickets backstage, have dinner with Blake and his band or whatever, and it was very successful because it's a reward. So those are some of the angles you take. All right. So trends, social media attacks are terrible. They're getting really, really bad, and they're getting bad in a couple ways. One is, you can put links into social media pages. Just interject yourself in the conversation. I haven't lost my voice in about 20 years, and all of a sudden it's happening. So I was saying about the social media, you guys have to have a web page, right, at Hutch. It's just a way to survive. Well, anybody can post something, right, on that web page, comment. Is that correct? Yeah, I'm sorry, Facebook. Yeah, so Facebook and or Twitter, right? So you can make these comments. Well, a lot of times these comments, you don't really know who they're from, but if they're doing it right, they can interject themselves relevantly in the conversation and click on this link for more information. Boom, you click on the link. So you really have to watch for that. People do that all the time. And if you're on public webs or public social media sites, there's really no guards there. And there's really nothing you can do about it because you have to leave it open, right? That's your marketing. That's your conduit of information. So just people need to be aware of that. The other social media attack you see is, it used to be, your imaginary friend was a doll or whatever you talk to back in the day. Well, now the imaginary friend is somebody made up on the internet, and you build a relationship with them, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're giving them personal information, or they're sending you links and you're clicking on them, and they could be doing that for all kinds of mean-spirited reasons, which is kind of the next thing, deepfakes, trolls, and bots. You see that a lot. And you really see it in the area of disinformation, somebody wanting to sway public opinion. Technology's so cheap now. My student assistant made a deepfake video. It was pretty darn good, using a program that you can get online for free. It took her about 2 days. So it's really easy to do. Again, you can do that to build a fake persona and gain people's trust, or you can do it for, disinformation. The other thing that's bad about deep fakes and trolls and bots are if you see these things and you think, well, that's, they've got safeguards now, so you can't do that. Any one of you could create a fake LinkedIn account, fake Instagram account, fake Facebook account quickly and pretty convincingly, because there's a thing called 10-minute email. You use that and your email disappears in 10 minutes. So you can use that as a confirmation email to get on the site. You can also get on a place that says this person does not exist. That does artificial intelligence way of generating pictures that are of people that have never been actually identified. I mean, it basically makes a fake image of somebody that's there's no record of on the internet. And then the other thing too is there's phone numbers that you can use for verification that they run through the internet as the actual phone number, and then they go away. So you can do this. It's not hard to do. You can get around the verification and authentication stuff. One thing you also have to look out for is obviously ransomware. Everybody knows about that, but PDFs are becoming popular as an attachment, because when you're clicking on the PDF, you may be clicking on an actual link to something. It looks like a PDF, it's designed as a PDF, but there's basically things in that PDF that are connections to another network. So you have to watch about that. And just because you get something that says PDF on it in a file, and it could actually be a PDF, it could be actually a ticking time bomb that gives you those sorts of things. Also, it's a great way to spoof a website, okay? I could make up, and I'm not even really that good at it, but I could probably make a pretty convincing Hutch website with login and credentials. Banks have been terrible. There's been cases where people have fake websites for banks. The person doesn't have their two-factor authentication turned on to the bank, so log in, username, password, boom, you're in their account. So that's like cryptocurrency. Once this became publicly traded, it's been really bad. I don't have enough money to do cryptocurrency, so I don't really worry about that. Cloud leaks, email breach, we talked about that. So back to, okay, so I made this, that was pretty good. I was proud of myself. So, costs a lot to back up all your data, all right? And hackers know that, and that's why they pick on educational institutions. There's a chance it may not be backed up, so ransomware and encrypted information becomes that much more valuable. Remote teaching, desktop protocols, misconfigurations, people being able to get in to your account remotely, that sort of thing. Many educational institutions don't have two-factor authentication. Do you guys have two-factor? Yeah, good. I know you guys are on top of it. So you're starting to see a few, there's not that many, but there are enough that it's a problem. I don't think Lincoln University in Illinois had it. There's other colleges that don't have it. So it's something that, is a mandatory thing for universities anymore. If you want to look up a really piece of crap individual, type in Michael Fish. Fish is in F-I-S-H, not P-H, and type in hacker. Type in Michael Fish, and look up hacker. And this guy was a total trash who went in and a student at some college in New York, some public college, one of the SUNYs, I think, is right? It's that State University in New York. And okay, they got 100 of them. But anyway, so what he did was he was a student at this college, and he hacked into about 60 or 70 student email accounts, all of them female, shared pictures, images, private images, and took all that and made it public, sold it to his friends, built like collages of these females. And, anybody seen that one show on Netflix, The Most Hated Man on the Internet or something? Has anybody seen that? Yeah, well, this guy did that, except for it was all in the context of a university setting. Terrible. So I don't think they had two-factor authentication for the students, which was something that is still lagging behind. Faculty, staff, yeah, students, not so much. Lots of intellectual property out there to steal. That's another reason institutions are attacked. Insiders can blend in well. You have faculty from other nations, that sort of thing. You have faculty from this nation that can be persuaded by money to switch sides. Hackers know most institutions have cyber insurance. Again, that also makes you a target because if they attack you and they know you don't have any money and you're just causing inconvenience, then they're probably not going to mess with you too long. Easy to social interference. There's tons of information out there on. This is why public officials that work for government agencies, especially small government agencies, because of all the Open Meetings Acts and Open Records Acts and everything, there's tons of information out there. It's pretty easy to social engineer and craft a pretty good phishing email. Okay. All right, so here's some more stuff that deals. There's Department of Education guidance on third-party apps. Why are third-party apps so popular? Maybe want to, in terms of, like Google Classroom and those sorts of things. Does anybody, free? Yeah, anything else? Yeah. There's a lot of different reasons, but, the thing I think is sometimes, professors, and the professors at Wichita State are like, okay, I'm going to go out and find something better than what you've got because I want to customize it. I want to use it for specifically engineering projects or whatever. So they go out and they go find something that's not the cookie cutter university approved thing, and they do it on there. Well, they don't understand all of this stuff, all the legal problems that this entails, all the privacy problems this entails, and can really get you into trouble. And I don't know here if there's a policy on third-party apps for storage, but University of Colorado, our CISO, our Chief Information Security Officer, can sit there and look and see who's logging into these third-party apps from their workstation and see, who might be doing things that are adversarial to what the contract is. All right, so go through IT services if you want to use one of these classrooms, see if it's approved. I just can't stress that enough. Other privacy laws, tons of them out there. Minors taking classes, do you have that happen? Yeah, has that been a problem, with all the consents, and it's been okay, not hard to do? Yeah, well, and it's funny because this kind of relatively new phenomenon. You go walk into you can walk into a college as a freshman and already have 60 hours of college credit or whatever, And I was lucky to have high school credit in high school. These kids have 30, 60 hours of college credit. Yeah, and but it creates a whole new set of consents and all that stuff. So that's something to think about. They may be rolling out a nationwide data privacy law, similar to the one they have in the EU, which is very, very encompassing, and will, it will make FERPA look like, 3 rules on a napkin. It's going to be a lot of stuff out there. I don't know when this is going to come. There's going to be a lot of wrangling in Congress, that sort of thing. Okay, so here's some really good sites I like to send people to. Are they going to have a copy of this, or you? Okay, so you can look at different sites. First couple bullets are, these are things where you can go out and check your personal data, your passwords, and see whether you have been compromised or your accounts have been compromised. it's really pretty accurate. And if you see this, don't ignore this password is in public list of passwords, leaked from other sites, from Google, Apple, whatever. They're probably getting these lists or getting this information from one of these lists. And what they do is they have threat intelligence is one of my kind of, I wouldn't say specialties, but one of the things I really focus on. They have threat intelligence people go out on the dark net or go find these nefarious sites that have all these password databases, and then once they find them, then they report them. So, okay, look, your password's out here. I found it 25 times on the dark web, you know, and you can buy your password for this much or buy this database. So, two-factor authentication on all personal accounts, that goes without saying. People don't do that. I mean, it's just like banking accounts, things like that. It's like you need to do that. So, do nothing sensitive on open Wi-Fi. There's a tool out there called Wireshark that you know, you can sit and actually at Starbucks and watch unencrypted traffic go back and forth, and then if you're really lucky, if you're a hacker, start finding things out like passwords and different communications. So you know, that sort of thing is out there for anybody to get, and it's free. You know, and if you see somebody at Starbucks on a computer now, you know, it's like it used to be, okay, they're just doing their homework or they're just sitting working, but now it's like there's some hacker. I mean, it's like you're totally paranoid about that sort of thing. Find out how easy information is to find online. If you look at these different sites, social media searchers, that sort of thing, user search, it will show if you've been all the different sites that you may be out there having accounts with. They said the average person has 7 social media accounts. Now, social media accounts, you know, also include YouTube and, you know, maybe even things like Spotify. But you know, there's a bunch of different statistics out there, and you don't think of 7 different social media accounts, but you start adding them up, and I was like, yeah, I do. I guess I do, you know, because I'm on Reddit, I'm on Quora, I'm on all these information gathering sites. And so it adds up quickly. Make sure that you understand that, hey, I've got sites out there. And then if you see something like this says you have a Pinterest account under your name, and like, I never said it's registered for a Pinterest account. You know, you may want to look into that. The last one is there's a thing called the Anti-Phishing Working Group, and I don't have the link for it. I should have put the link on there, but you can report anything suspicious to IT, obviously, first and foremost. If it's on your personal account, personal things, you can do the same. You know, I remember, anybody watched The Big Bang Theory? You know, so, you know, Sheldon's World of Warcraft account got hacked, and, you know, he called the 911. Which really doesn't sound that far-fetched now, you know, but, you know, he got made fun of for that. But, so that's, you know, that's the thing. There's mechanisms of vehicles to report these things. Okay. So, that's pretty good, right? Have a couple minutes for questions? All right, do you have any questions? Okay, looks like we've got one back here. Hopefully this is a planted easy one, so we'll see. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm introducing my education students to apps they can use when they become teachers.
Right.
So are you saying I need to verify with the IT department?
No, well, you don't store any of the students' information on there, right?
No, they don't usually even have to create an account.
Yeah.
I just provide a link. They go to the link and do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay. I'm talking about where you store students' information, like, you know, like there's things that you can do to create project, there's things you can create, project group discussions or whatever that you might like better than what the university provides. So, yeah, you're fine there. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Oh, we got one back here. He's got the same hairdo I do. So.
Do you recommend using a password service like LastPass or anything like that?
Yeah, they're, just make sure you read up on them. I use the one Apple provides for my, I think it's fine. Just, don't you write a bunch of passwords down in a notebook and put it in your center desk drawer, things like that people do. Still do that. All right, I've done it before. I'm not giving the holier than thou speech. But yeah, those are good, and they have to be good because they would get this is the lawyer in me, they would get their butts sued off if they weren't. So, yeah, read reviews on them, that sort of thing. Anything else? Nothing? Okay. All right, good. Well, thanks for having me. Oh, yes, sir. What's that?
How do you feel about VPNs, like a commercial VPN?
If you're trying to get like movies for free or whatever, no. So yeah, I mean, I think they have their place. I think people use them too much though when they don't really need to, because if you use end-to-end encryption sites and that sort of thing, I think you're okay. Again.
If you're already on the encrypted site, like a banking site.
Yeah.
Brokerage site, you have to
It's one of those things where I think there's some uses for them, but most time people think they need them and they don't, so they pay $99 or whatever a year or whatever, and kind of waste their money. But I see that that gets a lot of attention, VPNs. So, anything else? All right, thanks.
All right, that concludes our session this morning. Don't forget to check out the professional learning schedule. We have a lot of great offerings this fall. And have a great day.